I just want to welcome everyone today. I'm delighted that you all could attend this webinar to learn about the internships with the United States Public Health Service that are available to you as students enrolled in EHAC accredited degree programs. First off, I'd like to let you know that this session is being recorded and will be available for you to review on EHAC's YouTube channel soon after this event. I'll provide the link when it is ready. I'd also like to welcome our presenters from the Commission for Environmental Health Officer Professional Advisory Committee, or EHOPAC, and the Indian Health Service, as well as COSTEP and IHS externship alumni who will be sharing their internship stories with us later in the presentation. Next slide, please. I'll quickly go over our agenda and then we can get started. We'll have brief introductions, an overview of the COSTEP and IHS externship programs, and then some shared experiences and insights from past COSTEPs and IHS and externs. We are leaving ample time for questions and answers at the end of the webinar, so please have your questions ready for all of our presenters. The intention of this information session is to share with you the amazing variety of exciting and rewarding career opportunities in the environmental health field, and particularly with the United States Public Health Service. I'll begin the introductions by introducing myself. I'm Leslie Mitchell, Executive Director of the National Environmental Health, Science, and Protection Accreditation Council, or EHAC for short. I'm excited to be here today to learn more about these programs and to hear from alumni. Next slide, please. The next slide, please. Right. Yeah, the next one will be great. Awesome. Our presenters today will be the 3 officers in the United States Public Health Service and 3 past interns. First up is Lieutenant Commander Kendra Tunney. Lieutenant Commander, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hi, thank you, Leslie. Hello, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Commander Kendra Tunney. I'm here today with the Environmental Health Officer Professional Advisory Committee, the EHOPAC, to answer any questions about the COSTEP program. I myself received a bachelor's degree in environmental health science from Eastern Kentucky University, and I COSTEP'd with Indian Health Service as part of that degree. That COSTEP was one of the best experiences of my life, and I love to share about this wonderful opportunity. The U.S. Public Health Service is the best career you've never heard of. I've been fortunate enough to work with 3 agencies so far in my career. I'm currently stationed with National Park Service at Cabrillo National Monument, and that's the adventure all started with that COSTEP program. So I'm happy to be here today. Thanks.
Thanks, Lieutenant Commander Tunney. And next will be Commander Timothy Albright. Captain Albright.
Yep. Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. My name's Timothy Albright. I am the Deputy Director for Environmental Health Services at Indian Health Service at headquarters. I'm excited today to introduce you guys and everyone to the opportunities that will be afforded to you this summer in our internships. Just like Lieutenant Commander Tunney, my adventure started in 2002 as a COSTEP when someone came to my school, Indiana State University, was an accredited school at the time, and asked who wanted to go to Alaska and work for the summer. And so I definitely took them up on that opportunity. And so my adventure began there. And since then, I've worked for 3 different agencies: Indian Health Service, Centers for Disease Control, Food and Drug Administration, and now I'm back with Indian Health Service. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Captain Albright. I'd also like to introduce our past interns, Blaine Pinella, Devin Temple, and Catherine Miller. They have graciously joined us and will share their internships stories later in the program. Next slide, please. So Commander Albright and Lieutenant Commander Tunney, thank you for being here today, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks a lot, Leslie. So I just want to go over a quick vision of what the IHS is all about, what our mission is. And as you can see on the screen, through shared decision-making and sound public health measures, we enhance the health and quality of life of all American Indians and Alaska Natives to the highest level by eliminating environmentally related disease and injury. And you can see on the screen, we're a diverse group. We are spread throughout the United States, but what I do want to highlight is 72% of our staff work in the field offices. We're not centrally located in large cities or headquarters. Some of our staff are there, but all the work and the main work is done out in the field. So when you come on with IHS as an intern or a COSTEP, you will definitely have that field-based experience where you're going to get some good hands-on quality education. We're a community-based program. Our effort is to provide the most comprehensive services possible, and our program uses the public health approach with the 10 essential public health services at its core. Next slide, please. Next slide, there we go. Oh. So a little bit about the Junior COSTEP program. So there's two opportunities for you to intern this summer with Indian Health Service. There's a Junior COSTEP, and then there's the Indian Health Service Civil Service Externship. And so I'll go over both of those programs. So as a Junior COSTEP, you would be able to earn approximately about $3,000 a month, and you'd hold the rank of ensign in the U.S. Public Health Service. The application this year for COSTEPs in 2025 opens August 1st, 2024, and will close September 30th, 2024. Assignments are typically occurring during the summer, although alternative dates may be negotiable upon selection. So typically it's over your summer break, but it could be during the fall, could be during the winter, just could be any time that's negotiable and acceptable for you in the location it selects you. And again, the locations are at HHS field offices across the country, and typically the COSTEPs are with the Indian Health Service and occasionally with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And your general duties are going to be typical of an environmental health specialist. And the nice thing about working for Indian Health Service, it's a very grassroots environmental health program. So you won't be specialized in anything. You will get experience in all forms of environmental health and what that means in the field, and really get that great experience throughout the summer doing multiple different activities, as you'll hear later from our three previous interns. Next slide. Oh, never mind, you're on that slide. So for the requirements to become a COSTEP, you need to be enrolled in an accredited program in either 2 years in undergrad or 1 year at graduate school. You have to have a current GPA of 2.8 or better, and you have to be returning to school to complete your degree upon the completion of your COSTEP. There are some medical requirements, and you also must be a U.S. citizen. And if you want more information on the COSTEP program and what those specific requirements are, you can see in the hyperlinks there. And we also have a resource page at the end of the program here that can we'll highlight those things for you. Next slide, please. So the other opportunity, if you didn't want to do a Junior COSTEP and become an ensign in public health service, we have the IHS Civil Service Extern program. And again, with that program, you're going to earn about $3,000 a month. You'd be hired at the GS 5 or 7 level. This application window opens in November 2024 and is open through March 2025. So again, this window is for jobs during the summer of 2025, or alternative dates may be negotiable as well. Again, these locations are at the field offices across the United States, and the duties are typical of the IHS environmental health specialist. For this particular externship, there is a specific job application that will be announced in USA Jobs, and that will be distributed at a time when that actually is announced. And then there will be some job aids that go along with that, how to set up a USA Jobs account if you don't already have one. Next slide, please. So we will go into the past externs experiences here shortly. The one thing I did want to hit upon for both COSTEP and the Civil Service Externship, there is a finite amount of jobs each summer. It just depends on what the field-based need is and the availability of preceptors. So it is a highly competitive process, and you are encouraged to put your application in early if you're interested in this. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to you, Leslie.
Okay, next slide, please. So just introduce, sorry, I have my Lauren Blaney Pinella. She's our first extern that's going to speak to us today about her experience. Laura, or Blaine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Blaine Pinella, and I'm going to kick us off. So let's just get right into it. Next slide, please. So I am from Morristown, Tennessee, and I recently graduated from East Tennessee State University with my BS in environmental health. This summer, I was located in Bemidji, Minnesota at the Bemidji area office, and my preceptor was Lieutenant Joe Sariski. Next slide, please. So I'm just gonna quickly go over some basics of the kind of work that I did. So a lot of the work I did was field work, and within that, I did a lot of food sanitation work. So anything from serving kitchens to restaurants to temporary food establishments at powwows. But I also got to experience a lot of those other categories IHS does. So I went to childcare facilities and medical facilities. I also got to join the engineers on some drinking water facility surveys. Like it was mentioned, you get a great opportunity to explore all the different avenues in environmental health, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to intern with IHS. But when I was not in the field, I was in the office. I did some report writing of the surveys that we previously did. I was able to create and update materials, things to inform the public about, proper food handling processes and things like that. I also had a personal project which involved taking those temporary food establishment surveys and analyzing them for, the most common violations we saw and how successful we were as instructors and surveyors. So that's another great thing about IHS is you have the opportunity to explore the things that you're interested about and figure out what you're really passionate about. They really want you to try these different avenues and, come up with your own ideas and things like that. Next slide, please. So this is the most important part of this PowerPoint, the highlights. For me, this was a summer of firsts. I'm talking, it was my first ever plane ride to the furthest west I've ever been, to, my first time living by myself for an extended amount of time. So not only did I have a lot of professional growth at IHS, I also had a lot of personal growth, which was ideal. I was looking for that in an internship. I wanted something that was, all encompassing and well-rounded because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was in college. Environmental health is a really broad field, and I wanted to have the opportunity to explore all those different avenues. And IHS did a really great job at giving me those opportunities. Another highlight would definitely be the coworkers. I had an amazing preceptor who was a great mentor. He taught me a lot, and his passion for the job really rubbed off on me. And a lot of the other officers there were really passionate about their work. Like it was mentioned, this is a very community-based environment. You work as a team, but you also work to improve the community that you're working for. So it was just a great community to work with. And then, another one amazing highlight would be the powwows. I was there in the summer, so that's powwow season. I got to go to, I think, about 6 powwows. And it was super cool to experience, their culture and, interact with the community and have a direct impact on these people. And, like all these work things were super great, but also it was just a super fun summer. I got to explore a completely different part of the US. I got to make new friends and be a part of a different community and just live a different life for 3 months. So I just want to say that I just want to end by saying, IHS, you get a lot of invaluable experiences and contacts. And if you have the opportunity to intern with IHS, just do it. You will not regret it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Blaine. That's a great example of what's available with IHS. And next up will be Ensign Devin Temple. I think I got that right, hopefully.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Devin Temple. I completed the JRCOSTEP program in the summer of 2022, and I was stationed at the Oklahoma City area office in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Next slide, please. Just really brief introduction about me. I'm originally from Frederick, Maryland. I got my Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Health through the University of Georgia. And then, Oklahoma City was where I was an intern at. Next slide. All right, so one thing that Blaine mentioned that is a really awesome aspect of this program is that it allows you to experience a wide variety of activities within the environmental health disciplines. So I feel like it really prepared me for field work, following my graduation. So some examples of things that I did during my externship experience were doing ventilation surveys in clinics and hospitals, as well as X-ray and radiology surveys, also in the clinics and hospitals. Next slide. This also included helping at rabies clinics for pets and doing some sanitary surveys, which is more of like the engineer side of the environmental health. Next slide. I also did some nitrous gas and formalin exposure assessments, as well as doing inspections in various facilities on tribal land, including casinos, water parks, hotels, childcare facilities, elder centers, you name it. Next slide. And then another thing that I wanted to highlight about this summer is that it was truly just very, very fun. I got to experience a different part of the country, somewhere I had never been. I had never been to Oklahoma. I never thought I would intern in Oklahoma. And I got to be exposed to various cultures and just a whole different way of life here in the United States, just during a short summer as a college student, which was really awesome. And this also involved doing a good bit of like exploring and just a lot of really cool activities. Next slide, please. All right, and then what's really, I guess, important that I want you guys to know about this is that this experience was extremely beneficial to me, primarily because being an extern for the Indian Health Service led me to getting a full-time position following my graduation. So I'm currently an environmental health specialist out in Western Arizona. I serve the Native American tribes out here, and it is incredible. On the bottom is a photo of me on one of the reservations that I frequently visit, which is just beautiful and amazing, and I love it. Another really awesome part about the externships through USPHS and IHS is it allows you to build your resume because you gain such a wide variety of experience that there's a lot to talk about when you're going into interviews and trying to get a job. And so another aspect is that within public health, it's very service-oriented work. So you really do get to help people and you get to see the direct impacts of the work that you're doing, which to me is really, really important. And it's just very special and I think unique. And then finally, I was also introduced to the United States Public Health Service Commission Corps, which is an opportunity that I'm actively pursuing. So overall, I just want to note that I would highly recommend this opportunity for current college students in accredited universities. And I will put my information in the chat if anyone would like to reach out to me directly about this opportunity. I'd love to talk to you about it. But thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Hello, my name is Catherine Miller, Lieutenant Junior Grade Catherine Miller. My COSTEP was actually a little bit longer ago. It was in 2019. And so I'm here to talk about my COSTEP, my experiences, and then my career that it's given me from my COSTEP. Next slide, please. So originally I am from Central New York. If you know Syracuse, go Orange, that's where I'm from. I graduated in 2020 from SUNY ESF. And I had my degree was in environmental health science and my focus area was water, wastewater. And so I did my junior COSTEP, like I said, in 2019. I had one more year left after I was done with that. So I finished up my senior year, graduated in May of 2020. And then June of 2020, I went right back to where I did my COSTEP in the Bemidji area. And I worked there for about three years. And now I am currently in Albuquerque. I work at the Santa Fe Service Unit within the Albuquerque area Indian Health Service. Next slide, please. My junior COSTEP was in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I will say I did not know where Wisconsin was on a map. When I was told that I was placed there, I had no idea where Wisconsin was. Prior to my COSTEP, I had never been west of Ohio, so it was pretty awesome to get to see new places. And my preceptor, who now works for the FDA, but his name was Lieutenant Garrett Steiner, and he definitely, and then the internship experience as a whole made me want a career with Indian Health Service. It was just so interesting. I was seeing things that I had never seen before, like the cultural experiences, and specifically too, he got me very into vector surveillance. And so I've done a lot of work with ticks and mosquitoes that I never would have done had it not been for my COSTEP. Next slide, please. Here are some photos from my COSTEP. If you look at the picture on the top left, the man in the red hat, he is actually also a officer now in, I think, Devin's office, Lieutenant Harris. He is an engineer. He did his COSTEP at the same time as I did. But if you look at some of the pictures, it was a super cool experience. I got to experience weather patterns I'd never seen before. Commuting to the different tribes that we were serving, I had to go through Chicago to get there. So of course I would stop, and I got to try deep dish pizza for the first time. And if you look, you can just see all the little vector stuff that I did. And I love that photo of the ticks, comparing the tick sizes. I love to show people that photo, you know, just to warn people about hiking, because ticks are a major thing that we need to worry about in environmental health. Next slide, please. And so, like I said, I graduated college in May of 2020, and then in June of 2020, I immediately started back with Bemidji area Indian Health Service, except this time I was located in northern Minnesota. And I worked there as a civil service employee from June 2020 to March of 2021. But then in March of 2021, that is when I converted in place to be a commissioned officer. So now I'm currently a commissioned officer with the United States Public Health Service. And I did the same job, you know, like it was the same thing. I just switched to be commission corps. And some of the main things that we did in the Bemidji area were food safety, vectors, and institutional environmental health. Next slide, please. And here's some photos from the Minnesota district office. I felt like every day was something new. You know, it was such a good experience working there. The top picture with the helicopter, we were helping distribute COVID vaccinations, and, you know, the picture of the baseball field that was in Detroit, that was another COVID mission. And then the picture of me with the snake, that was something I found during a playground survey. And so just, there were so many opportunities that the Bemidji area gave me, and I'm very grateful. Next slide, please. Now, though, I did leave Bemidji area and I'm at the Santa Fe service unit. And it's very similar to what I'm doing in Minnesota, but there's a little bit different fields of environmental health that they emphasize here on, just based on climate. So we do a lot more with rabies and mold investigations. And then something brand new that I did not know was a part of environmental health was child passenger safety. Next slide, please. And so, like I said, I just started in December of 2023, so I don't have too many pictures yet, but we've been doing a lot with child passenger safety, and I'm still getting used to the climate, but I'm really grateful. I think that the junior COSTEP was the thing that jump-started my career. Before my junior COSTEP, I thought I was going to work with water wastewater. I thought it was the coolest thing, and you know, now I don't work with water wastewater that often, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that the junior COSTEP gave me. And if you have any questions on the junior COSTEP or just a career within IHS as someone who's like still newer starting out, I will also put my email in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Thank you, Lieutenant Miller. That was amazing. Thank you for all the stories from each of you. And Captain Albright, I'll turn it back over to you to talk about the resources.
Sure. Yeah, just again, thanks to the three presenters today. As everyone can see, the experiences that they had are unique in and of themselves, but their overall experience is not unique. Everyone was excited about what they got to do, the variation of the types of work that they're doing, and the experiences that they received on their internships. I think everyone will contribute that to their success later. So it's a really, really good opportunity for anyone looking for a great paid internship over the summer. All right, next slide, please. And lastly, here's just the resources. These hyperlinks were embedded into the presentation on some of the slides. They were, much smaller on those slides. So we just put a resource page together here. Additionally, the three of us, Captain Stephen Pointkowski, who is at headquarters with myself, his information's there, my information, and then Lieutenant Commander Kendra Tunney's information is there. So if you feel like you have any questions or you want to chat with someone about this other than the three presenters, or you're going through the process of applying in August or in November for the externship, please reach out to us if there's anything we can do to help. Facilitate, or just general questions that you have about the process or about what the work looks like or where the needs are for interns in this upcoming year. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. And so with that, I'll turn it back to you, Leslie, for some questions and answers.
Right, thanks, Captain Albright. I would highly encourage you, if you have any questions at all for the alumni of the internship programs, to ask. So please either enter them in the chat or raise your hand, and we can call on you. It's a wealth of information here. We have a lot of people present that could help you out with this, with any questions you might have. I had one question for the alumni from the internships program. About how did you feel prepared going into your internship academically from your education at your EHAC accredited program? That's to any of the interns, I guess.
I guess I can give my perspective from that. So I went to an EHAC accredited school as well. My degree was environmental health science. My focus was water, wastewater. I had never taken a food class in my entire life. And so my food class was going to be the semester I got back because week one for EHAC. And I was really nervous going in, but we just did a bunch of food safety trainings the first week, and I felt like I was right on time. I felt like food safety is probably the first thing that I at least did as a junior COSTEP. But yeah.
Thanks.
So
We do have. Go ahead, Tim.
As I say, there was a question in the chat, and
Yeah.
I will say, as far as Indian Health Service, when we get the students and we hire them full time, or even in the COSTEPs or the externships, when they're coming from an EHAC school, the learning curve is so much smaller for those students because you're so well prepared coming out of your programs that we generally appreciate the fact that we have the opportunity to hire those students coming out of those schools. So it's just something that we do look for. So someone asked for me to expand on my experience in Alaska. So I did my COSTEP in 2002 in Nome, Alaska, and much like everyone attested to here, it was varying different types of environmental health. I was going to the water plants, doing some sanitary surveys of the water plants with the state primacy agency, which was Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation in Alaska. I was doing rabies clinics, was getting ready for the Joint Commission accreditation process. So I was involved heavily in doing surveys of all the remote village clinics. And then my big project that I did when I was at least on my COSTEP was Alaska doesn't necessarily fluoridate their water. A lot of the water systems are only adding chlorine. So I did a project from the beginning to the end of assessing what water systems were viable to add fluoride to their water system based on a lot of different parameters. Their testing that they had done throughout the last couple of years, how often they missed the testing or how often they were doing it, and how often they were falling within the parameters of what the Alaska was looking for as far as their water quality, that and the competency of their water plant operators. So that long project culminated in I went to a couple of the tribal councils and presented the facts about water fluoridation, what the methods would be, and what the advantages of that are. And so from that project, we did add fluoride to 2 water systems as my project when I was at a COSTEP. Subsequently, I did take a job as the environmental health director in Kotzebue, Alaska, and that was my first assignment with Public Health Service and Indian Health Service. And again, that was just such a varying experience. I was, immersed into a culture that 99% of the people in America will never experience, and I was just living that lifestyle, getting to know those people. And I think someone else mentioned before, like, this is very community and service driven. And if you're looking to make an impact, an immediate impact, and see that impact that you're making. There's no better place than Indian Health Service, because we are serving the underserved. We are serving those remote locations, and the things that we do every day are making the lives of those people that we serve better, and you can see the direct impact of your work. And so it's just a great opportunity. I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Commander Albright. There's another question about, is there an age cap within these programs?
I will let Captain Pointkowski answer that question if he is available to answer that. If not, I will. Oh, there he is right there. So no age cap on the externships. Yep. There you go. Yep.
So there's no age cap? Go ahead.
No age cap. Typically, though, they are undergraduate or graduate students, and your assignments will not exceed 120 days. So sometimes we have, even last summer in 2023, we had a person in full-time work earning a Master of Public Health with a focus on environmental, and she decided to come to us and work up in the Dakotas for several months in the interest of trying us on. So it worked out really well.
Great, thank you. And there's another question here. If we are placed across the country, are there scholarships available to help cover the cost of relocation?
Lieutenant Commander Tunney, would you like to answer that on the COSTEP side, if you're still on and available?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so as an ensign with the Commission Corps, you receive a housing allowance and relocation assistance.
And then Captain
Stephen,
Pointkowski, yeah, go ahead.
If you decide to go the civil service extern route, we are unable to pay for relocation reporting to your duty station, but we are able to help with some of the costs to return to your university or home at the end of your assignment.
And there's another question. Are there physical requirements such as a PT test that has to be completed?
So for if you are going to apply for the COSTEP program, you need to be able to meet the medical accession standards that are applicable to all United States Public Health Service officers. And those standards, I think, are in one of the hyperlinks. If not, you can reach out separately and we can send those to you. For the externship, there is no medical requirements or physical tests or anything like that you have to pass. But for the COSTEP, you will have to be medically cleared. And that's a process that's handled through PHS Commission Corps headquarters.
Matt, this is Mike Reed. Also, regarding the age requirement, I know that there's no age requirement for the civil service option, but having said that, I believe that the junior COSTEP process, you need to be able to meet the age requirement for commissioning. So
Yes.
if you're, say, for example, 50 and the age cap is 44 to commission, I don't believe that you'd be able to do a junior COSTEP because you wouldn't qualify for commissioning afterwards, which is the whole goal of that particular program. So I think people would be wise to consult the Commission Corps regarding those appointment standards and the eligibility for the junior COSTEP.
No,
But
that's correct.
regardless, the same restrictions do not apply to the civil service option.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you, Captain Reed. Captain Reed is the director here for Environmental Health Services at IHS headquarters, for those out there who don't know who Captain Reed is. But that is correct. I think you have to be able to be commissioned, and the age limit is 44 for that. So thank you. And then there is a question about VA benefits. If we receive VA benefits now, would that disqualify? I cannot answer that question. If someone on the call can definitively, great. If not, you may need to consult with the VA on that.
I can answer that because I went through that. I was prior Navy and I received 30% when I got out. The long and the short is that you'll have to drop your VA benefits. You'll have to supply a letter to the VA saying that you're temporarily suspending the VA benefits. But you cannot be any more than 30% and still come back on active duty. If you're at 31%, you would not qualify, but anything less than 30, you would.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I would ask if there are any other comments from our presenters, any closing comments they'd like to make, or Commander Albright, would you have some closing words?
Sure. Again, I just thank everyone for being here today. Great questions from the audience. Thank you to our three presenters. Your experiences will be invaluable. Thank you for agreeing to do this so others can hear the stories that you've had. And again, if there's anybody out there live now or on the recording when someone watches this later, our information is there in the resource page. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. If you're absolutely any inkling or thought of doing one of these COSTEPs or externships for the summer, you will not be disappointed. So if you do have questions or you're thinking about it, please let us know if we can help in any way. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everyone, and thanks so much for the alumni for being here today, for presenting your experiences. It's just amazing. I've only heard amazing things from people that have taken part in these, as you heard here today. And so just thanks to everyone. Thanks for Captain Albright and Lieutenant Commander Tunney and Captain Piankowski for being here today. And we'll close. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Leslie, thank you for all of your efforts to pull this together, and to all the other people who supported this. I think this is a really great example of a collaboration that's going to benefit, not only our agency, the institution, but also the students. And so I'm really excited about where this collaboration leads. So I really appreciate it.
I am too, and I think that the more we reiterate that that there's the extern opportunity that's available and much easier to apply for, I think that'll be really helpful as well. But yeah, I really thank Commander Albright and Lieutenant Commander Tunney for their time and efforts, and
everyone who supported this. I'm really appreciative. I think this came off really, really well, and I think it is a great job by everyone who brought this all together. So thank you so much.
Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. Have a good one.